Another episode of my Xplane tutorials. In this tutorial, I'm not going to continue with our last topic, which was plugin development for Xplane. In the last episode, you see we talk about Xplane plugin development and SDK, Xplane SDK, and how we can develop our own plugins. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you something new. Actually, this is not a teaching. It's mostly an introduction. I'm going to introduce you to some capability of Xplane. And it's very easy to use because we are using a ready-to-use plugin built by NASA developers, and actually it's very easy. So because of that, I say it's not teaching something new, but actually it gives you great power in the hands. For those of you that you are engineering students, you know Matlab very well. Matlab is huge tools for all the students and engineers, and also it has some medical application as well. It gives you great power in development, calculation, simulation, and so on. So having Xplane and Matlab together gives you great power in hand. So you can implement your ideas. You can have some real-time processing on the flight, manipulating some flight parameter, and observe the effect of your manipulation in real time in Xplane. So this combination is very interesting for us. There are various of ways to communicate Xplane and Matlab together. The most known one is UDP communication. UDP is a network protocol such as TCP/IP and so on. But UDP is faster protocol, but it has also some cons as well. But I'm not going to talk about that, and also I'm not a network professional. So just we are using UDP communication. There are also a lot of other protocols and methods you can use. You can connect Xplane and Matlab using TCP/IP, or you can connect it through internet, or you can connect it using serial COM. It's not very easy to connect Xplane and Matlab with serial communication, but it's possible. It depends on your application. UDP communication also have a lot of application in, for example, the applications, the iOS tablet or cell phone application you see out there. They are connecting to Xplane. They show you the flight charts, flight map, flight progress, or give you some capability to manipulate the flight during a teaching class. All those applications are using UDP protocol, so it's very useful out there. Okay, let's don't spend time on this and go on to the real parts. As I said, I'm not going to talk about the network definitions and different network topology and network protocols. And as I told you, I'm not a network professional, but I'm going to give you a definition, a concept of network in just a minute. As you know, right now that you are watching my video in internet, you are connected to a network, so you are a client. In each network, we have client and server. So you are a client that are actually receiving data from YouTube, and actually you are receiving data from an internet server that for example, maybe you are connected to a server in Iran, or maybe you are connected to a server in US, and those servers are also connected to some higher level servers. So it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that this communication is two-way. You can both request and response and send. For example, this client. Uh, this client can communicate through this line, through these ports. Each one has an IP. The client and server both has IP. So IP is just like your ID card in society. You have your ID card, and for example, everywhere you go, you have your ID card, and no two person in the world has the same ID card. So this is the same. In a network, no two client or no two device can have same IP address. So this, for example, this client has an IP address of, for example, 1, and this one has 2, 1, 2. So they are communicating using these port numbers. This client is listening to the port 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want to talk to this client, you should say hello 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are sending your hello message to the port 1, 2, 3, 4. This is his listening port. And this server has a listening port of 5, 6, 7, 8. So anyone wants to talk to server, he should say I want to talk to through 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the definition. For example, if this client wants to send hello to this server, he should send uh, his hello through 5, 6, 7, 8 port. So this server is listening to 5, 6, 7, 8, and this one is sending to 5, 6, 7, 8. So a message can deliver from client to server. This is a concept of how the network communication works. For those of you that are network engineers, maybe my definition will be silly for you and it will be funny, but I think it gives the concept. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can give you the concept of it. So let's go to Xplane. Okay, right now this is just to have the environment change. I decided to be inside the carrier. Okay, because I wanted the vehicle to be moving. If I wanted to put the airplane on the runway, the airplane would be stationary and it wouldn't move, so the data wouldn't be changing. But when we are on a carrier, we are actually moving. Okay, let's go to the Xplane settings. You can see a tab network here that it says talking about UDP ports. For example, you can connect an external view. For example, you can have another computer that only runs the visualization of Xplane. You can configure them here, the port numbers. You can see the definition here. For example, here Xplane says port will receive on. This is this one. So if you want to talk to Xplane, you should say your message to the port 49010. And if you want to get anything from Xplane, you should listen to the port 49001. This is the concept. And in this tab, you can define what data you want to output from Xplane and with what rates. You can configure here the IP address. Just remember to this will be ticked because you want to send data. Actually, we are not going to use this. This is for the time you want to manually get data from Xplane, but we are not connecting manually. We are using a third-party plugin, so that plugin will configure everything here for us when we don't need to change these things. Okay, so let's get out of Xplane and go to the plugin. For this, I will put the link in the description, but I'm going to search it here for those of you that are fan of Googling everything. This is the project page in GitHub, and you can go to the NASA website. This is the Xplane Communication Toolbox, and this is the GitHub page. Okay, no, this is the. Let's go to the NASA page first. This is the page, the definition, and also this plugin is very old. It hasn't been updated since I think 3 or 4 years ago. Okay, this is the page. You can download the file here. It's very lightweight plugin. It redirects you to GitHub. Okay, I suggest you to read all this, the definition here and how they work. And as you can see here, this plugin is not only for Matlab, it's for C, Java, Python. So you can connect your Xplane through C, Java, Python as well using this plugin. It's a very great tool to communicate with Matlab, with Xplane, I'm sorry. Okay, you can see everything here. Go ahead and download the zip file. and in the downloaded file, okay, you find this folder, you find some XPC plugin. Copy this folder to your Xplane directory. You go to your where you have installed your Xplane. For me, this is eGames Xplane. Go here to resources, plugins, and paste it here. I have already copied here. This plugin will do everything you need inside Xplane. After that, you have to decide which programming language you're going to use. For example, I'm going to use Matlab, and you can see there is a Matlab library here and some examples here. To use that, go to your copy this folder in a place that is comfortable for you, for example inside your C directory or anywhere else, and then go to your Matlab. Navigate through the folder that you have put that folder. Through here, I have copied that to C users, user documents, thesis, and XplaneConnect message. You can navigate to the place you have put your folder there. Okay, when you come here, open Matlab, and you see, remember this folder should be near your project because this is a library and Matlab is going to use this library using this URL. So don't move this folder. Okay, I'm going to start with monitor example.m. This is the code, very simple code, but I'm not going to talk about the code first because the code is relatively easy and it's working. You can click on run and you can see latitude, location, latitude, longitude, elevation, aileron, elevator, and rudder. And this is the purpose I put the Xplane, put our plane on a carrier because I wanted it to be moving. Okay, and this is an error. I will talk about it later. This is because Matlab is waiting for a packet, and when it, for example, Xplane has some delay and the packet is not ready, and the Matlab will trigger an exception and says no response received. To solve this, you can use try and catch concept. You can put this code inside a try and catch block so you won't get to this exception. Okay, um, let's go to this page, and to show you how you can use this plugin for your purpose, I suggest you go to wiki. This plugin has a very great documentation. You can see each function and what is each function doing. For example, in the first line, we created the socket variable using the OpenUDP port, OpenUDP function. So go on and click on OpenUDP, and here it talks about what it does is that it sets up a new connection to Xplane, and it says in each language, C, MATLAB, Java, Python, how it is working. So it gives you some example, the exceptions that it can come through, and example for each language. This is very great because they have done very great work. You can see every programming example. You can go on and copy and paste this to your code. For example, for MATLAB, for Java, you can use Java for NetBeans in NetBeans. Okay. After that, what the function, you can see he put some actually before going any further, let's tell you what this code is doing. This code is unlimitedly get the position and control surfaces of the plane and report it to us. So it is a monitoring example. The function get position and get control, and it get the data back in a structure to POSI and CTRL. So how they are working, get position and get control. Just again go to wiki, go to get position, and you can see the examples here for each language. This is it.
For Matlab, this is position. Very simple, very simple code. And after that, you get the get control just with the same method, and he used fprintf function to just show the values to us. And how the data is stored inside this value is described here. It says that output of this, for example, function is a structure with an array. So you can find that in these examples. And after that, just a simple pause and again come back from this. Remember the last tutorial we talked about data refs? This is get data ref. Remember what we were doing inside Visual Studio for getting a data ref? For example, if you want to get, for example, ambient temperature in Matlab, just like what we did in the last episode. You come here using the Matlab or any other language. Oh, they don't have Matlab. They don't have Matlab example for this one, but it isn't important. For example, look at the C. First, but I think they had Matlab. Let's go to get data refs. This one is when you want to get the value of several data refs at the same time. Yes, this one has Matlab. You see, very simple code. For example, for C language or Java language, it's all this line of code, but in Matlab, it's actually 3 line of code. Very simple. Matlab is very beautiful when you want to just do your engineering tools, not concerning about programming. You see, it says the data ref's names. It put the data ref names inside an array. It wants to know the gear handle status and aircraft gear deploy data refs. And it simply says get data refs and these names. And get the data back inside a structure and call it result. You see, Matlab gives you a great tools, very great tools when to communicate with Xplane. And go on and go through all of this function. For example, the view, the waypoints, text, get position, data ref, pulse simulation, and so on. So you see, you can do everything you want with this. And just one more thing. In Matlab, I think you don't need to specify this address. This address means localhost. So as I told you, inside a network, you can have several computers. You can run Xplane on one computer and Matlab in another computer and communicate them together. So I put the IP address of localhost. This is well known in network engineering, which is the address of the localhost. Localhost means our own computer. Because we are running it inside my own computer, localhost it means my computer. So this is the IP of my own computer. So maybe I think in Xplane you don't need to specify this because by default it knows that you want to use your own computer. I don't know if it's work. Yes, it's working. So very simple. It just feel like you're talking to Xplane. You say, hey, yeah, it looks like you're talking to Matlab. You say, hey Matlab, open UDP. Very simple. And say, hey Matlab, get position. Hey Matlab, get control and show them to me, pause and again go on the same process. Very simple steps, but it gives you great power for the next steps. I think that's the point. I think there's nothing else I want to talk about just for demonstration. Let's change the position of elevator and aileron and see if it is changed here. Yes, elevator, rudder, and aileron have changed. And one more thing to mention, you see the rate is almost limited. It's not very quick. What do you think happens if I remove, for example, have a shorter amount of pause between the loops? You can see the rate is faster. But what will happen if I want to make it faster, even faster than this one? You see, you will get some errors and also the rate is not increased. That's because Matlab is looking for a response, and when it doesn't find its response, it comes back to the response received. This plugin is programmed in a way that it output data in each calculation. Remember in the last episode we talked about the Xplane loops. Xplane does its looping, we can configure it here. Flight per model calculation, it says 2 per frame. So it does the calculation 2 times per frame. So it depends, and after each calculation, that plugin will send back data to UDP port. So if you have a very advanced computer with a very fast CPU, you can increase this, and also your frame rate will be increased, so you will have very fast data output. So but if you don't have a very fast computer, remember to put this value reasonable, so you won't experience any error. And for the last thing for this episode, I'm going to tell you about try and catch. Try catch. Very simple. For those of you that you are not a computer programmer, just to tell you the concept, try and catch means that you are telling to the computer that, hey computer, if you run to any exception or any error that I say to you what errors. So if you face with any errors, don't stop the process. Forget about this code. Come to this part. Catch. For example, we say if. For example, we can say f print f error occurred. So what will happen after that? If there was an error in this two line, MATLAB won't stop. It just shows us an error, but it won't start. It will go on and continue the work again. So this will help you in processing that you won't face with no response errors. You can see now we find there is an error occurred. Why? Position undefined function variable. Okay, we can put these ones as well here, because after getting out of try it doesn't, it's happening. It's because the Matlab is not Xplane is not running. You see, we have some errors, but you see here there are some errors, but Matlab is continuing the process. That it's not stopping the process. So this will help you in your process. And that's it for this tutorial. I'm going to post some other tutorials about Matlab and Simulink as well, and also for those of you that requested about communicating Arduino with Xplane, soon I will post a video tutorial series about how to connect Arduino and encoder, push button, and so on to Xplane. So give me anything you think. If there's a problem with my tutorial, tell me please in comment, and if you have any question you can ask in the comments. Subscribe and like please if you like this series, and goodbye to until the next episode.